how many PYPs should I do? I have done 10 PYPs, but even then I have got just 85 out of 150. Ouch. Every time I do a PYP, I feel depressed. These are some of the comments that I get from my students regarding PYPs. But the main question isn't about how many PYPs that you can solve or you have solved. It is about how have you solved those PYPs, because if you solve the PYPs in the correct manner, then each solving of the PYP will 10x the value that you get from it. In this video, I shall be breaking down my process of solving PYPs. Hi, I'm Dr. Swasti Dhar and I mentor teachers and trainee teachers to clear the CTET in their first attempt. And in this video, I will be sharing with you the exact same strategy that I teach in my masterclasses. Before I begin, a quick update. My 3-month-long weekly PYP solving sessions has already begun from 15th of September. In this, we meet every week on Sundays at 5 p.m. to solve previous year questions, and this will continue for every week till the exams is done, so the next 3 or 4 months. Now, I'll be posting these session videos on YouTube so you can follow along. But if you would like some access to the PYPs, the explanations, and other resources, then I highly recommend that you join this course because it is available for a one-time payment of just $4.99. And I would love to have you in my group. Now that the update is done, let's dig in. So let me break this issue down. How many PYPs to solve? Which PYPs to solve? And is there an efficient way? So the first question, how many PYPs? In my opinion, if it is done in the correct manner, then even 5 full previous year papers will be more than enough. The problem lies not with how many PYPs, but which PYPs should you take up. I'm saying this because with the coming of the NEP 2020, the older PYPs have become redundant in certain subjects. Now, CDP is evergreen, but even then we get a lot of questions from the NEP and the NCFs now. So, if I compare it from 2011 to today's papers, because I have solved all of those, the tone of the papers, especially the pedagogy part, has changed by around 30%, 20 to 30%. So how far should you go back? So if you just go back to 2020 and solve the most recent papers, that should be enough. The other point why I'm saying this is because in the 2021 and the 2022 sessions, when the CTET was held over month-long sessions, there itself you will get many papers. So you don't have to solve too many papers. The maximum that you should aim for, and that is feasible, is 5 to 10. I mean, not beyond 10. So to give you a very concrete endpoint, there's no need for you to go back beyond 2020 because it's a repetition. So there's no point. But the key point is how to solve the PYPs. Most people solve PYPs like this. They will solve one PYP, then they will score themselves. And this is something which they may do, they may not do. And then they'll go on to the next PYP. My way, and I found it to be very effective and I teach it in my masterclass, goes like this. So the same process, there is this part first, and this is what I call my secret sauce, which gets added. So if you see it, there is the same thing. You have the solve PYP, you have the scoring, and you have the next PYP. But these 3 are added. So what are they? First is to learn. You cannot start solving PYPs before you have completed learning. Now, many people miss this concept totally. You don't start doing PYPs immediately. First, ensure that your learning is done, and whichever portion that you have finished, you can take a small bit and learn that and do that much. So, test yourself only after you have completed your learning. Otherwise, it's of no point. So in my masterclass, what I do is I start with one topic, let's say CDP. We master it thoroughly and then we start testing ourselves on this. Then I will usually move on to the languages and start testing yourself there. Then to the next topic, which might be social science, or it could be maths, it could be EVS, it all depends. But you go bit by bit. So once you have solved this, there are 2 ways to score yourself. Now I know many people don't score themselves at all. They just blindly solve PYPs. But you have to score yourself and keep a record, because otherwise how will you know? Why is it that you have solved 10 PYPs and still get 85? you would have known that where do I stand. Generally, when I solve a paper, how much do I get? That is the point. So what is this confidence score? So before I ask them to check answers which I give from my answer key, I ask them to first score themselves. This means that they go through every question and they say that, okay, I think this is correct, this I'm doubtful about, this I'm not sure, this is totally wrong. And then they give themselves a score as to, in this paper, this much I have definitely got correct. Once they have done that, and they get a confidence score. So out of 30, because each session is out of 30, you might have done the paper and said, okay, I'm very sure about this topic. I know this is correct. And I will get around 15 or I will get around 20. After they have done this, then I ask them to go to the answer key. Now, the answer key, just the answers are available even from the CTET website. But my answer keys, and I'll show you an example of it, will also have the explanations. So this is how the answer key which I give looks like. So now that they have got their own confidence score, they will go to the answer key, they will check and they will score themselves properly. That if this was a CTET exam, how much would they have got? And then they will note down both of these. So on one hand, you have a confidence score, which say you said that you would get 15 out of 30, and you actually go and check yourself the real answer key, and you find that you have got 22 out of 30, or you could have got even 10 out of 30. So what does this mean? I have had students who have scored themselves very high in their confidence score and got very less marks. I have, on the other hand, found people who are very underconfident and very cautious. They score themselves very less. They said, I'll only get 12, but they end up getting 20. So there are two advantages to this, because this takes you to the third secret sauce out here, when you have to relearn. Now you would have identified where is it that I falter. This is because the answer key also gives the explanations. So you focus on the explanations, you relearn. Remember, learning is the key. You have to relearn, and only then do you go on to the next PYP. Now this has two advantages, because when you do the next PYP, you are more confident. You know that you have to score yourself, and over time you are confident of how much marks that you will get. The first attempt is always a surprise, the first time that they do the confidence score. But if you follow this process consistently, believe me, you don't have to do more than 4 to 5 PYPs. That will be more than enough. Additionally, I'd just like to add that when you're learning or relearning, you should not only learn the content that you have to study, but also focus on the various ways that same question can be asked. In fact, I've made an entire video on this. I'll try and link it somewhere here. It never comes on the screen, so I'll put it in the description also. It's called Different Ways That a Question Can Be Asked from the Single Topic, and I'll put it in the description. So to conclude, in case you wish to experience solving PYPs with me and your peers, then I invite you to join the course that I had mentioned right at the beginning, because we've started 15th September, and this will continue right till when the December CTET happens. I hope you'll join me. Thank you for watching this video.